Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel. We're back again with the tips this week, going into round 22 and feeling a little bit under the weather, so we'll make this a quick one this week. Just quickly go over my last round tips. I got 5 out of 9. Well, I should have got 6 out of 9, but apparently I forgot to change my tip from Carlton to Collingwood. In the video last week I tipped Collingwood, however I had originally tipped Carlton, and apparently I just forgot to change it on AFL tipping, so that's a shame. Still a bit of an average round of tipping. Would have been another 6 out of 9 score, which I think is what I've got previously before that round, like at least 3 weeks in a row. So I seem to be stuck around that 6 out of 9 tipping range. But yeah, let's just head on to round 22. We're in the final 3 rounds of the season now. Sydney taking on Collingwood. This is going to be an interesting matchup because despite Sydney being top of the ladder, we are not going very well at all right now. Playing more like a bottom 4 team. Lost 5 of our last 6, or 5 of our last 6, including our last 2 matches have been really bad. 112 points to Port Adelaide. That is absolutely shocking. We didn't even look like we showed up at all, really. Collingwood have got Jordan Ngoe out. They just beat Carlton. Prior to that, they weren't going too well. They did beat Richmond the week before, but they had lost 4 in a row before that. I don't know. This game being at the SCG, surely last week's result was just so bad that a response just is a must. Surely the Swans have to respond. I want to tip them to win this one. I'm not very confident in my tip here. I'll go Sydney by 6 points. I feel like they just have to respond, and Collingwood still have a lot of injuries, and they still are in a little bit of shaky form themselves. Brisbane versus GWS up next. This is going to be another fascinating matchup. 2 top 4 teams at the moment, Brisbane in 2nd and GWS in 4th. So this, you'd think that both of these teams are going through the finals at this stage. And I think it should be a fascinating matchup. GWS haven't beaten Brisbane at the Gabba since the 2019 semi-final. And I think that Brisbane are just in absolutely scintillating form at the moment. So I think that they should win this one, but it should be a pretty good contest. I'll tip the Lions in this one by 11 points, and I believe that would be 10 wins in a row for them if they did get over the line here. North Melbourne and West Coast, an absolute blockbuster in Tasmania. 16th versus 17th. We had the Spoon Bowl last week, and now you have the... I don't know what you call this match, to be honest. The Spoon Bowl 2.0, I don't know. But this might be a bit of an interesting matchup because, they are pretty similar positions on the ladder. West Coast, prior to last week, weren't going well at all. They finally got a breakthrough win against the Gold Coast Suns in North Melbourne. They've been travelling okay as themselves. Obviously got the win over Richmond last week, and they've been in some better form as of recently. So it'll be an interesting matchup, this one. I think in Tasmania. I actually can't remember. I was going to say I can't remember the last time North Melbourne won in Tasmania, although they did beat the Gold Coast Suns there in the final round of last season. They're usually reasonably competitive though in Tasmania, more so than any other ground. They have been on the end of a few bad losses there, but they never when they were really bad, they were never quite as bad as their losses at some other grounds like Marvel Stadium, the MCG. So I think that they should win this one. Should be a fascinating matchup. I'll go the Kangaroos by 17 points. Fremantle versus Geelong, another interesting matchup. In Perth, Freo would want to respond. Geelong, they're looking a little bit hit or miss. They're still around the mark, could potentially still make the top 4. So I think that because this one's in Perth, I'm going to back in Fremantle to respond after that 1 point loss to to Essendon, and I think they'll pinch Geelong in a thriller by 5 points. Essendon versus Gold Coast. Well, this one's a bit of a tricky one to tip because the Gold Coast Suns haven't won a game away from home all year. Essendon aren't going all too well themselves, although they did pinch a 1-point win over Fremantle last week. Can they still make a bit of a late charge toward finals? I don't know. It's going to be tough, but it is possible. I think just on the fact that Gold Coast haven't won a single away game all year, I just can't see them winning this one. I think Essendon, they should be able to win this one fairly comfortably. I'll go by 25 points because you can't trust the Suns away from home really. Melbourne versus Port Adelaide at the MCG Saturday night. You'd think based on form this is a pretty simple tip. It is at the MCG though, but can't really go past Port Adelaide at the moment. Melbourne aren't going all too well themselves. I think this should be a comfortable win for Port Adelaide, to be honest. I was thinking about going an upset, but honestly, with the way Melbourne are going at the moment, they really don't look like getting anywhere near finals this year, and I think Port Adelaide should beat them comfortably. I'll go by 40 points. Carlton versus Hawthorn in an absolutely massive matchup to shape up the top 8. So this is an absolutely massive game. If Hawthorn lose this, you'd think they'd probably be out of the hunt for the top 8 completely. I still think that there's a reasonable chance they could make the top 8 because after this they play North Melbourne and Richmond. No, North Melbourne and West Coast, I believe. Or is it? I'll have to. I'm pretty sure they play 2 of the bottom 3 teams in the last 2 rounds. So this is a big matchup for them. And Carlton, if they lose this, they are still a chance of missing the top 8. And how crazy that would be after the form they were in through the midway point of the season. They look like absolute locks for finals, locks for top 4, maybe even top 2. Since then, they've kind of almost mirrored Sydney's form. The top 2 teams of the first half of the year have both taken a bit of a nosedive. Sydney are still on top of the ladder, but Carlton are currently they're falling down the ladder rapidly. And if they don't win this one, there's every chance that they could miss the finals this year. And I am actually going to tip Hawthorn to win this one. I think that the Hawks, even though they lost last week, they were still very competitive. Were in the lead for most of that matchup. They wouldn't have liked, giving up that final quarter lead, but they were still very competitive, fought it out to the end. And I think they can get the job done here over Carlton, who have a few injuries and are very out of form. Yeah, I think Hawthorn can pinch this one. Richmond versus St Kilda. I think the Saints should. I think the Saints should win this one. I don't really have much to say about this. Richmond having lost that game against North Melbourne last week, you'd think they're probably locked in to win the wooden spoon. Saints will want to respond, and not much more to say. St Kilda by 25. Final game of the round, Adelaide versus the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs in very good form. Realistically, shouldn't drop this one. I don't know. I have a bit of a feeling that this could be one of those games where the Bulldogs just inexplicably, for whatever reason, come out and don't play their best footy. But I think I am still going to tip them in this one, even though they can be a bit of a random team at time. The Dogs, they should win this one comfortably. I'll go by 31 points, but it also wouldn't surprise me if the Crows upset them here. And that brings to a close round 22. So at the end of that round, we still have Sydney somehow on top of the ladder, and Brisbane in second, Port Adelaide third, Fremantle up to fourth, the Dogs just outside the top 4 in fifth, GWS, Geelong and Essendon back into the top 8, Carlton outside the top 8 at the end of the round because I do have them losing. So Hawthorn in 10th, Collingwood in 11th, Melbourne in 12th, Gold Coast 13th, and then once again, as always, pretty much this bottom 5 has more or less remained the same for a good portion of the season. So that brings to an end this week's tipping video. If you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down your predictions for the upcoming round in the comment section below. and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.